and welcome to Chats, a television podcast, Season 16, Couch Madness. 16 shows enter, one emerges as the show we will watch for the remainder of our season. Who will win? Who will lose? And who will die? My name is Magellan, and they're here to squeeze the milk of life into their dirty glass and drink it warm. It's Alan.
Is that a Tick quote? That's a Tick quote, right?
Yeah, but which one?
I don't know. It's probably the
See if
Tick.
you can guess. Yeah, it is the Tick.
Oh, no. Okay. Phew. I was worried it was the Tick. Hi,
No,
Meg.
it's not the Tick.
I'm cozy. I'm cozy core right now. I'm wearing my Demon Slayer blankie. I got my hue lights are on. I'm chilling. We had a nice little conversation before this. You know, last week was hard, and I wanted to have an easier decision this week, and maybe we do, maybe we don't. We'll see. But what matters is I'm cozy AF. I had a nice chill weekend. People liked the episode, and we have another fun one coming up. So I'm in a good spot.
Great.
What about you?
That's great. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good as well. I had a weekend full of various kinds of fun, and I'm here to have another kind of fun that I love, which is talking about television.
Yeah, I think some feedback we got, or just like general commentary, was that some people are bummed about what's the bad show called? Quantum Leap. Some people are disappointed that
you didn't get me.
Some people are a little bummed that we didn't pick Quantum Leap, but we're also like, you know what? If you guys like it and it's the show that makes you comfortable and you want to talk about it, then that's what should win. So congrats to Xena from last week. We'll see if it makes the muster.
That people are taking that tack with it.
Yeah, I totally understand being like, I'm annoyed. I think it's totally valid. I know I just did a funny voice for you. I think you're allowed to be annoyed. I immediately regret doing that voice because it undermines the whole point I was making. You're allowed to be annoyed with us, but it's our podcast at the end of the day, and you are here listening to it. It's Couch Madness. It's Chat to Television podcast. This is it. We're doing it right now, live.
We are. We are here to do our third matchup in round 2, which is exciting. This time around, we watched... I got the seeding mixed up in my head. I thought the lower seed was high and the high seed was low, but I was wrong. We are watching our 7th seed Battlestar Galactica, which won in round 1 against Sequest DSV. And when I was watching the Battlestar Galactica episode, not to take away from it, but I was kind of like, damn, I would have loved the week where we watched The Chick and Sequest DSV.
Yeah.
What a fucking balm to the soul that would have been. Up against, as I just said, The Tick, which was our 2nd seed, and which bested 6 Feet Under in round 1. Now, in round 1, we made a decision about which tick the tick is for us in this bracket, and we chose the animated 1994 version of the tick. But come on, we wanted to watch episode 2 of all of them, and maybe our opinion on that has changed. I don't know. We'll see. So it's all 3 of the ticks episode 2s against the second half of the Battlestar Galactica premiere miniseries that we are discussing tonight. Let's go ahead and talk about... Oh.
Fantasy basketball update.
No, I thought I could get past it this week. Alan defeated me.
Yeah, you did. By how much?
Let's
go ahead.
There are 9 scoring categories, and Alan won 6 of them.
Oh,
there was a moment where it was going to be 5-4, but it didn't work out that way. In my defense, not that I need it, but in my defense, we put a trade in right before we were going to match up, and then I traded away someone who I don't know how instrumental he was in your winning or not, but I got back 2 guys who were then immediately injured, and I couldn't have them on my team.
You couldn't have predicted it. You could not have predicted it.
So that sucked. And then some other injury stuff was going on, and then freaking Tyrese Maxey, man, he was on my injury list, and then I went to bed and he had a game at like 10 p.m. that he wasn't supposed to play in because he was injured. And I wake up and everybody's like, this guy had a 50-point game. It's like, come on, bud. Come on. You were on my bench. Well, not even my bench. You're on the injury list.
Such is life, buddy. What can you do? You gonna cry over spilled milk?
So now I'm in
see you
fourth
in round
place. 20. I'm barely above 500 over here. I'll see you in week 20. Yeah, in like freaking 5 weeks. My goodness. Maybe
The
old
good
and
news for
gray.
you is that I might lose my matchup this week because my friend who is in our league he got to draft first, and so he got Nikola Jokic, and that's just gonna be good for him forever.
Mm-hmm.
Still salty about it. Anyways, that's the fantasy
Anyways.
basketball update. It was a valiant effort from you, Magellan, but the real winner won. Other updates: Simpsons Meme Initiative. Really quick, I finished season 6 this week. Shout outs 2001 Greyhounds. I love Santa's Little Helper, my little angel. Shout outs Lisa's Wedding, a tearjerker of an episode. Did not expect to cry at that one.
A little flash forward. That's a nice one.
A Star is Burns is a very fun one.
Good gags in there.
I think I talked about Bart versus Australia last week, and Maggie Makes 3. But if I didn't, those are both amazing.
Those are all timers, yeah.
And then I had never Round Springfield, another emotional one. R.I.P. Bleeding Comes Murphy. And finally, I added this was not on the original list, but Nick and Pat recommended Lemon of Troy because it's their favorite episode.
Oh, that's a great one.
It is. I'm glad I added it because it was really funny. It's the Shelbyville.
That's the Shelbyville one.
Yes.
God, that episode's so funny.
And it has that funny moment where the guy who's like the Shelbyville Homer is like, I'm just going to have this lemon. And he bites it and his like lips like recede into his body. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a very funny episode. They all love to kiss their cousins over there in Shelbyville. Look, someone's cousin. And they all run. Oh, God. They used to cook with that show. They used to get silly with it.
Yeah,
so I'm moving into season 7 this week, which starts with Radioactive Man, because I'm skipping Who Shot Mr. Burns because I already watched it. It's got the 138th episode spectacular, A Fish Called Selma, and honestly, I'm watching most of it. There's like very few skips in season 7. I think season 8 is when I start skipping significant chunks, and then from there I skip more and more. So the initiative moves on. But that's all the introductory segments. Thank you for skipping ahead to 9 minutes into the podcast when we actually talk about the thing you want. Let's get into our first matchup. Our first.
Can you imagine if I played the Pickle Check song right now?
The whole thing, not even
Add
the clip.
More segments. So let's talk about what we watched this week. First, we are discussing Battlestar Galactica, the miniseries Part 2. This was written by Ronald D. Moore and Glenn A. Larson, directed by Michael Reimer. It aired on December 9th, 2003, the night after Part 1 of the miniseries. Alan, what happened in Battlestar Galactica, the miniseries Part 2?
So, as we know from last week, after last matchup, after 40 years of armistice, the Cylons attacked the 12 colonies of Kobol. Their strategy, a virus implanted into the mankind defense system. The former Battlestar Galactica adapted to museum is not connected with the defense system and becomes the only warship capable of fighting the Cylons. This is a general description of the miniseries. I'm just gonna wing it for part 2. There are more Cylons. They look like humans, we learn. Adama and Rosalind learned this before everybody else, and Tig learned this before everybody else. We start to worry about that. A bunch of the soldiers are reunited with their lovers, including Boomer, who gets to be with her boyfriend again. And you're like, oh my god, everything is so good. The guy from Dollhouse is still on Caprica. Baltar is now listening to a sort of apparition of number 6 in his ear, convincing him to arrest somebody who's not a Cylon to throw the Galactica off the trail. That guy ends up staying on the prison planet or whatever that they go to. And by the end of the episode, the Cylons break him out. And he is a Cylon? He's rescued by Cylons who look like him.
Yeah, he's a Cylon. Yeah, he's a Cylon.
Interesting. So not only is he a Cylon, but one of the Cylons is the guy with the weird eyes that attacked Adama, and Boomer herself is another model of Cylon. Okay, right out the gate, I did know this one. I guessed it, to be honest with you. It's so emotionally easy. She is young. She is in love. She is friends with a child. Of course, Boomer is a Cylon. So out the gate, that ending, I was like, okay, this is a cool way to frame it and to show it to me. And more importantly, this second half does establish where BSG is going to go from here, which is they're going to Earth, the 13th human colony, the planet known as Earth, which is so corny and good. And that's where they're going to be able to repopulate because there's only 50,000 of them left out here. So we got the direction of the series now. We know that there are Cylons on the ship and there are Cylons pursuing the ship. The table is set. How did you feel about the second half of Battlestar Galactica's miniseries?
So I watched this one with my girlfriend Amanda while we were cooking, meal prepping for the week, and also roommate of the pod, Sam, joined us as well. So, it was a nice gathering everybody around the hearth moment, which I think made my experience of watching the episode a little rosier than the quality of it. I think it reveals a lot of good things. The first half is really a lot more about like, let's establish these character relationships that you're really interested in. The second half nudges forward some of those and gives us some really great character moments, but it's mostly about, here are the moving pieces for like the show long plot. And for me, since I already know those things, it's not a show that like feels rewarding the second time around, except for the things that I know that are later than this. But the things that you learn in this episode, it doesn't really enrich the experience of watching this episode to know them. So, and then it's just that classic problem of like, did this really need to be a 3-hour pilot for this show? It's so long.
It's so long.
Yeah. So I liked it. And it was funny. This evening, I was eating dinner with Amanda and our other roommate, and Amanda was like, "Oh, have you seen Battlestar Galactica?" And she was like, "No, I don't think so. Did you like it?" And Amanda goes, "I think so." And, yeah, I think that says a lot, because Amanda
it's funny
really
considering you run her notes that she wrote. She said, "quote This show sucks."
She said that because that was around the part when they were gonna blow up that little girl.
Sorry to laugh at it, but yeah. Okay, fair enough.
But it was interesting to watch it with her because she's a big fan of The Expanse, and The Expanse really draws on this iteration of Battlestar Galactica, I think. And so there are places where she saw similarities and she liked it, but also, this is a very serious show and kind of a grim one. It's a show where it's like, all right, we're going to have to let thousands of people die to preserve humanity's existence. See ya. And also it's a little embarrassing for the next scene to be number 6, like straddling Gaius Baltar in her red dress, like, "Ooh, I'm in your brain. I'm gonna have brain sex with you." And you're like, this is like a very intelligent TV show about themes. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's how I felt.
You had a good experience with it, partly because of the experience you had watching it, and partly because you liked elements of it, but you felt like as a mini series, this wasn't super like valuable. Yeah,
it just kind of drags after a certain point.
I understand why you'd want to make something like this slow for people who have never watched Battlestar Galactica before. Like, it's a little dense. There's a lot of world building to do. But what worked for me was all those moments, those like moral decisions, Adama being a leader, except for the part where he does a speech. That was not so good. The themes of family and betrayal and love and what the Cylons actually are and what their goals are. The talk about religion. I was like, this is all of the ingredients to make a delicious sauce. Why are you presenting it to me with the slowest possible A-plot ever? Like, just get there. And then they got there and I was like, this is unfair to Couch Madness because I really want to watch a normal episode of BSG now to then know if it's good. Like, I still don't feel like I got my answer for like, is BSG a good show? But like, it's got incredible ingredients for sure. I really like all of them. I think like it all just works.
Here's what I was literally doing while I was watching it. We were making a beef stew, and
coincidental.
I was chopping up the onions, then I had to chop up a bunch of carrots, chop up a bunch of potatoes, chop up the garlic. And so I'm spending all this time like chopping all these different vegetables, putting them in these different bowls, getting ready for them to get tossed into the stew. And that, like you're saying, is what this episode is. It's this kind of longer than you want it to be process of being like, okay, I get it. It's a carrot. I understand. You need to chop it up into pieces to get in the stew. Just toss it in the stew so I can taste the stew, please. Yeah. But I will say I had that stew for lunch today and it was pretty good. And that's what the first episode of BSG is going to feel like. You're going to taste the stew and say, okay, I see what you did there.
And a wild thing again about Couch Madness is like, sometimes the matchups are just unfortunate to the show. Like, 33, the real pilot of Battlestar Galactica, is considered one of the best episodes of a series.
It's like amazing. It's
Yeah.
a very good episode of television.
Right. I literally heard, I was listening to Remap Radio today, and Rob referenced 33 because it was Remap Radio episode 33, and he was like, "Oh my god, it's like BSG, it's the episode where," and then I was stopped listening because I was tuning out. And I was like, that's amazing. Unfortunately, we'll talk about this, I think, in a little while, but like some of the other shows that we have coming up, their third episode is considered the worst one of the series. So that's really fun for us. And we'll have to talk about how to handle that, to be fair to everybody.
Okay.
Anyways, BSG part 2. What else do we got? We got some good elements. I really like this ensemble. Now that I know who is the ensemble, and it doesn't just feel like we're introducing more and more people, I'm like, okay, it's like, you know, it's Starbuck, it's Adama, it's Rosalind, it's Baltar, it's Tig, and it's, you know, Tyrell and what's her face, and Boomer. Like, that's like our primary squad. And like Lee Adama. I get it. And I'm like, this is, everybody's doing something. They're all fitting to their roles. This is a Ronald D. Moore ass show, you know?
Who's like oh, sorry to cut you off.
Just like remembering what he did for TNG, good and bad, and being like, if Moore did anything really well on his TNG episodes, it was like getting characters into the right place to do the thing that they do. And I noticed that very much in this half of like, everybody's in their spot, you know? Everybody's doing the thing they need to do.
Yeah. Who really stood out to you as like which characters would you want to follow and see more of their plots going forward?
So is it Tig or Teague? Just so I get it correct. And
I think it's Ty.
Ty. Okay. I love him. I love a grumpy old man. I hear things about his extended family that I'm going to like a lot. It's hard not to catch at least minor details about the show. I think him, Baltar, and Rosalind are like my top 3. Because Baltar went from like this sad, tragic character of like, how could I have possibly known? And you watch him slowly evolve over the course of this episode into a worm. This man is willingly holding the keys to humanity's destruction and saying, hey, you know, maybe this is all right. Maybe if I'm part of it, then I'm safe. And it's like, you're the most doomed man in the show. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, I think you should be the science officer. I need you. It makes everyone else look so stupid. And the more that this show taps into like U.S. military 9/11 stuff, continues to be the most 9/11 series literally ever. The more it deals with like, we need you to fix and find the bad guys. And the fact that he just lies about that stuff is delicious to me. I can smell the dramatic potential there. And I think that they're still getting a lot of mileage out of Rosalind being this like extremely competent, extremely confident character who people just miss or like undervalue over and over and over again, where they're like, she's president, but like, does she know how to do anything? And she's like, yeah, I fucking know how to do everything. Go do your job. This is my orders. And they're like, yes, sir. Right away, sir. And she knows, like, I was the Secretary of Education. That means that it comes with a certain level of disrespect that you guys have for me. 43rd in line or whatever. But I'm the fucking president. You better listen to me. We're going to make a fleet. And she's so cool. I love her.
Yeah, I agree. I want to hit both those characters in the order that you talked about them. Because Amanda's having the same reaction to Gaius when he first shows up and I was first explaining his whole deal. She's like, "Oh, poor Gaius," and then by the end of the episode, it's like, "Yeah, he sucks. He's a bad person." Which, you know, it's obviously, she meant it in a more nuanced way. It's obviously more nuanced than that. But like you're saying, it is interesting to watch him very slowly start to make this kind of devil's bargain with the 6 that's in his head. And he's having to navigate like, okay, she's helping me. She's telling me she loves me. I know I shouldn't trust her because she's a Cylon, but she's also giving me accurate information and helping me keep myself safe. But then she's mocking me for doing it. And it's just this like very distressing, confusing mental state for him to be in. Combined with what you're saying, the sort of delicious, like Lando Malari style.
There it is.
Oh, you just can't help but fuck yourself. Like, I want so much better for you. Against my better judgment, I want you to be okay, and you're just gonna keep on fucking yourself forever, aren't you?
I love it.
Yeah, it's really, really great to watch him get himself in trouble. Because also the guy who plays Gaius He's so good at making that that little sad face he makes.
James
like,
Callis. Yeah.
Yeah, James Callis. It's like, oh, I feel so bad for you, but you keep just doing that, don't you?
I love it.
So yeah, the Gaia stuff is pretty fun.
He's just a delight. Yeah.
Yeah. And also like a real misstep on the part of the BSG crew, because if you find out that the Cylons can look like people, wouldn't you assume that like the super famous guy who just magically showed up is a Cylon? I would be like, wait a minute. I don't know if we can trust you, bud. But he gets away with it somehow, which is...
I would hope somebody on the show does know. Because that's like what this show seems to be doing well, is like hide what people know and what they suspect until it needs to appear in the plot.
Right.
I could be wrong about that. Maybe nobody knows and they're going to find out tragically. That'd be fine. That's how storytelling works, baby.
Hey, no spoilers here.
Nope, thank you.
And then just to respond to what you said about Rosalind, I think Rosalind is my favorite character in the show.
Wow.
It's hard to say, but she's the one that's like holding up the best to a rewatch and me no longer being a teenage boy who wants to see cool stuff. Like all the cool stuff, it's like I don't care about
the Starbucks stuff.
Cool stuff. Yeah, I think Starbuck is like a little not handled in the most interesting way. But Rosalind, I love the interactions that she has with Adama, and you start to get tastes of that by the end of this episode. The conversations that they have about leadership, and like you were saying, she's very good at being president. The problem is not if she's bad at it, if she's bad at making decisions. We see her decisively make a very challenging decision to sentence to death this sweet little girl that she met. So like anything that anybody would assume about her and her ability to lead is wrong. And then it's just a matter of convincing people that even in this kind of vacuum of space where we're being hunted by robots, it matters to like preserve institutions that can live beyond us, because if we don't, then this whole project is basically done for. So I definitely enjoy her character a lot.
She's so important to the ideas of the show, being like, what do we do when all of the prep that we did goes out the window? Like, how do we rebuild from what we have? And it's like, well, you make the Secretary of Education the president, and she kills it. She does great, and she makes really hard decisions, but she knows how to lead people. She knows how to talk down and up to the right people, and she's extremely confident and good at her job. Simple. And then we work out from there. I think like she almost overshadows Adama in these episodes. Adama Senior.
Yeah.
I know he obviously has way more to do, but I was like, she right now feels like the one leading this group of people around. And both Adamas are kind of just like listening in and like following orders right now.
Yeah, it'll definitely become more of a point of tension between her and Commander Adama as the show goes on, of like who's really in charge here. And I think they handle it in a pretty interesting way. I love the pivot that happens in the episode where somebody's talking to her about like, oh, there's a war on or whatever. And she says, no, there's not. We lost. It's done. We're not at war anymore. We are trying to figure this out. We're in a new situation. I'm in charge of it. Stop trying to make this like a, military government situation. So yeah, I like
that. What I liked about that scene so really quickly was like, we have to stop thinking about this as fighting, and we have to start thinking about it as surviving. That is why the Galactica jumps in this episode is like, it put us really far out, but like we need to live. We are the only humans left that we know of, and we can keep talking about like getting the weapons in order, fighting the guys, getting the ships, getting a fleet, but like we need to live and repopulate and eat. Like we cannot, the fight doesn't work if we don't have the energy to fight.
Right.
You were saying?
Oh, I was just going to pivot and ask about some other characters. What did you think about Apollo, about Lee Adama in this one?
I have a feeling I'm going to have stronger opinions on him. I do not currently. I think he's fine. I do like the reuniting scene with him and his dad. Like, oh, did you know your son's alive?
The part where they hug and the facial expression that he goes through, this like shocked wince is so good. I love that part.
Yep. Yeah. And what was the other? I like the interactions he had with Starbuck very briefly, where she like shoves his ship into the Galactica with her ship. That was kind of wacky. I don't know. He's handsome. He's got a little bit of swag. I think he's fine. I need to see him interact with more types of people, though. I know he's important. He just didn't get a ton to do here.
Yeah. What about Starbuck?
I'm concerned about Starbuck. I'm concerned with what they're doing. Are they? So she was a guy in the original show, right? The character of Starbuck was male, right?
Correct.
I'm smelling hints of like the special boy, if like the trope of the special boy, of the like you were dictated by the world to be the best at this shit. Like she's preternaturally just like a good pilot, and she's good at everything, and people like her. And Ty has a good. I love her and Ty's like interactions with each other. That's such a weird combo, but she's very headstrong. She's very queer coded, but not queer, unfortunately, right? We're not gonna find out. You're not gonna tell me.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
At least I'm pretty sure that she's not textually queer.
Yeah, I figured as much. So like they're just gonna have her be the action star for a while, and then reveal that she's like the world dictated that she needs to be like prophecy or something. That's my guess.
Right.
Also, she's Starbuck. Like that's what they do. So she has the cool name. So that was how I felt about that. And then just like the rest of the people are all either Cylons or on Caprica. I was really sad that fucking Baltar is the one that comes on to BSG and not Hilo. Although the benefit of Hilo being on the planet is that we're gonna get more Caprica, I guess, for now.
Right. Yeah, there's a little more to explore on that planet. I don't remember it being super interesting, to be honest. Like it's kind of just let's see how Hilo survives sort of a thing.
Right.
Yeah, I don't remember it being super memorable.
I figured that it would not be a huge part of it because it doesn't immediately have to do with the show, like with the rest of the plots. It doesn't directly influence anything else.
Did you knew like there are multiple Cylons on the ship and they look like different people? You knew that already?
I did know that. That's just like a thing I knew, that this is Among Us, the TV show. And then at the end of the episode, I think it's the Commander Adamo who sees the paper that's like there are 12, right?
Yeah, right.
So now I'm gonna be keeping a mental note in my head of like how many models do we know there are, because there's number 6,
right?
There's Boomer, there's Stinky Man, whose name I refuse to remember. That's 3. I don't know who else we know so far, but we're gonna get 12.
Stinky Man is the guy that Gaius named.
Yes.
And then there's the guy that Adama met on the station place.
Isn't that is that not Stinky Man? No, it's not. Okay, so that's 4. You're right.
Different guys. Yes,
Leoben.
4.
You're thinking of Leoben.
Yes.
Or Leoben. Sorry, I don't know, guys. Don't yell at me. I watched a really bad cut of this that had terrible audio quality. That was the other thing, was I was like, this show looks cool. It just looks like garbage on the cut that I have. But when we actually watch the series on a streaming service or on a DVD, and then if it wins, then like I can actually watch that and appreciate the visuals of it. I think the CG is really good for what it's worth.
Yeah, I think it holds up surprisingly well.
Definitely. They use it sparingly so far. I thought like the shot of the Cylon, the robot, the metal Cylon walking by, I was like, oh, that's a little weird, but it's okay. It's the aughts. And, having the sounds look like humans is a brilliant way to not have to do any effects at all. Fucking Boomer, though. I'm so bummed. I knew it, but I'm bummed, man. I liked her. And here's the thing. Maybe being a Cylon isn't necessarily a bad thing.
I just read something that reminded me of something that happens in the Hilo stuff that is actually interesting.
Okay, that's exciting.
And God, I can't explain it to you.
Oh. Well, people at home probably know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So they can enjoy it. I'm not going to look it up, though.
Oh, that's actually really good. I forgot that was a thing. Yeah, so what are your thoughts about Boomer being a Cylon?
I think not all Cylons have to be bad. Also, she's going to be like a shadow agent or like a sleeper cell. Like, she's not going to be a Cylon until someone says something, some like activation phrase, and then it's going to be like, okay, Boomer, and then she's going to kill Tyrol, or whatever. She's going to cut him open. Okay, boomer. That writing that joke earlier today reminded me of the fucking TikTok from like 6 years ago of the girl dancing to the OK Boomer song and getting made fun of or whatever.
Right.
TikTok has really gone through a lot of like generations, but neither here nor there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just think it's cool that they're like, we got away, we're finally safe, and it's like, dog, you are the danger. Not to quote Breaking Bad, but you are the badness is coming from inside the house. You've got Baltar being talked to by number 6, who has a line to the homeworld. You've got multiple Cylons on your ship, at least 3, if not several more, out of 50,000 people. That your odds are not good. I don't know how they win this. That's really exciting to me, sincerely.
Right. Yeah, like what happens to the humans? Yeah.
Exactly. And like, how do they survive? What methods do they use? Who doesn't survive? I'm sure plenty of people die on this. Like, I'm pretty bought in from now. I'll say that about this.
What
episode.
about you said you didn't like Commander Adama's speech?
Yeah, it's corny is mostly what it is. It's very corny.
Super corny. How do you feel about the like lore that may or may not get dropped in that speech? Like the Earth stuff?
The 13 colonies, and there were other
Yeah.
Earthling. Everyone tells me that the end of BSG is one of the most like contentious endings of all time. So like, I'm like in my head thinking of like, what could that mean when they say the 12 colonies, 12 Cylons though, 12 colonies, 12 Cylons? Does that have to do with anything?
Right.
Stop. It's gonna be like I'm just literally reading the text of the show. I'm watching the show, and I see 12 comes up twice, and I'm like, are the Cylons just humans? Are they prehumans?
Right.
Is this actually the past or something? Because they already talk about like, we got rid of our technology. I was reading about the Butlerian Jihad today. Are you familiar with the Butlerian Jihad? In Frank Herbert's Dune, the setup of the world is that like years and years and years and years and years before the first Dune book, something called the Butlerian Jihad occurs, which is humanity destroys all technology, calculating material, and math doing tech that they've ever built, and blows it up so that they have to use their brain and their humanity to survive. Super cool setup. It's called the Butlerian Jihad. I like to think that that's what BSG is going to do. Is they're like, well, we have to get rid of all of our future tech and start over. That's why we have the square paper. That's why we have, we're the only ship with technology left on it. And then they're going to have to reset. And someone's going to get a boat. I want this shit to get fucking so stupid.
Put sails on the freaking Battlestar.
Yeah, put sails on the BSG. Ugh.
That's
they won't,
funny.
but
No,
that's like my...
They won't do that, but they might do other stuff along what you're saying.
Those are my like lore guesses. But I guess they also there's that priestess who's on the ship. I love that there's a priestess. That's fantastic. I hope she sticks around for a long time. Don't tell me.
I don't remember, to be honest.
Okay, great. And then this whole like, yeah, we need to go find Earth, because instead of like, someone earlier is like, we gotta start repopulating. And they're like, yeah, but what if there's just more of us? Like, why do these 50K people have to repopulate? Let's just find the other couple million.
Yeah. I like the thing that, obviously the moment of the speech is very corny, and when it comes up I was like, oh, this is super corny, this is bad. And then later when Commander Adama is talking to Rosalind and she realizes that he was lying, it's like, oh, okay, at least there's an actor reason that Edward James Olmos did this in such a corny way, and it's because he was playing Adama as like making something up on the spot, so it reads and it makes sense.
Wait, which part was he making up, just to be clear?
The part where he was like, all of the senior officers know the location of Earth. I know where Earth is, and I'm going to bring us there.
Oh my God.
He was lying because he wanted to give everybody something to hope for, is what he says.
I like that.
Yeah. And also the whole thing of like, we're looking for Earth, it does become a thing. It's kind of what's annoying about it.
Yeah.
Is they're like, Earth, whatever. It's a myth that everybody believes in. I'm going to use it for this rhetorical purpose.
Interesting.
And also, it is something that the show is about later, and it is wrapped up in a lot of what people don't like about where the show goes, if I'm remembering correctly. And it's also like the part of it that feels the most like it's still part of the Mormon vibes of the original show.
Really?
In that sort of like, we are this like like the whole 13th tribe. You know, the original BSG is like super Mormon, right? Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah. We did talk about that. Yes.
But it's this whole like there was another tribe of people that went to this other land and are the descendants of the humans from before. Like that's kind of what Mormon faith is about, and the idea of where Mormonism comes from.
Oh my god, I'm reading the connections. Koval is an anagram that turns into an LDS thing. The throne of God. Oh god.
Yeah, and it's also just this like kind of westward frontier vibe that is just tied up in like how Mormonism expands and where it settles in the US. So that's very interesting to me, but it also feels a little awkward for this 2000 show to have to somehow like bring forth and speak to a part of it that doesn't really feel tied to what the rest of the show is trying to do. You know what I mean? So I found that kind of funky.
It seems superficial, though. It seems like reboot Battlestar Galactica is like superficially Mormon. Like the 12. Yeah, that's ridiculous that they use the 12, which is a concept from Mormonism as well, and do it in this. But like, what does it mean that they choose to do that other than like the original show did it and we're just doing that again? I was reading some academic there's actually a lot of good academic writing on like JSTOR about BSG, Mormonism, and 9/11 if we decide to cover the show, I would recommend we like seek out, because people have done a lot of that work, especially like the 9/11 stuff. Like, people on Discord have told me that like there is refugee crisis stuff. There's like an Israel-Palestine parallel in this. There is waterboarding and torture stuff that characters that we already know and love are going to do, and like finding the enemy, the multiple clones that like literally the whole like this is maybe a stretch, but like the Cylon can look like anybody was a worry about like the Taliban in the United States among some conspiracy theorists and extremists. And Saddam Hussein had like a bunch of body doubles, and it's like it's like, are you just, what's going on, guys? What was in the water? And like, I stick my pinky, this episode is me sticking my pinky into the water and going, what the orange? Why does it taste like orange? I need to have more of this. Like, it's not a great flavor. It's not like this is my favorite flavor of water, but it's so interesting and unique that I'm like, wait, huh? And people like this show? This is so weird. I'm kind of into it. So that's kind of what I came away with for OG BSG. That was a lot of letters there.
OG BSG.
Stray notes?
Oh,
damn. Did you? On my end, you did. I wrote this. Maybe I said this last time. Tumblr would have lost their minds for Gaius Baltar if they was around when this show came on. He is so that type of character that people will be like, he's baby girl. I was just talking to somebody about Roman Roy recently, and how Roman Roy is also baby girl. But yeah.
It's that same crowd whose favorite character in Baldur's Gate 3 is Asterion, and it's like, why?
He's not gonna call you back.
Yeah,
it's me. I'm that person, by the way. I'm not making fun of anyone except myself. Great line from Rosalind, my favorite line from the episode. The world is coming to an end, and all I can think about is how I have cancer and I'm probably going to die. Such a good summation of like what this arc of the show is about, where it's like, I'm just human. I can't stop being human and worrying about human problems. Even if we're on the last 50,000 people ship of the world, I still am worried that I'm going to die. I just thought that was fantastic. And like her emotion in that scene is really good. It's just, Rosalind's fantastic. I did not realize that the guy that Commander Adama beat up was a Cylon at first. And I was like, why is he killing a man out of self-defense? What's going on? I only looked away for like 2 seconds and I missed that whole part. I'm gonna attempt a big brain take on this. Military hive mind makes it easy for the Cylons to invade BS3 via sleeper agents. This is Cold War anxiety, post 9/11 conspiracy theories that the Taliban were among us. I already said that. I talked about Adama's speech. 12 Cylon models, 12 human colonies. It's all there. Doral is the name of the sad guy. Leo Ben. Yeah. This is it. And then the ending kind of worked fine for me. What about you?
The only stray note I really have is that roommate of the pod, Sam, had this incredible snack. They were called Space Dunk Oreos.
I've seen
And
these. Okay.
they're Oreos that are like, blue and pink or whatever, and they have Pop Rocks in them.
Oh.
So you like eat the Space Dunk Oreo, you think, okay, that was just a normal Oreo, and then all of a sudden your mouth is like, it's a space
Okay.
themed Oreo. We had it for BSG. It was really great.
Oh.
So,
yeah. All right.
That was fun.
I love it.
Yeah. All right. You ready to talk about the Tick?
The Tick. Let's talk about the Tick. I'm ready.
So we watched episodes 2 of all 3 Ticks, Tick 94, 2001, and 2016. We'll talk about the 94 Tick first. The Tick versus Chairface Chippendale, written by Ben Hedlund and Richard Lehman Smith.
So funny.
It aired on September 17th, 1994. And what happened in the Tick versus Chairface Chippendale?
The faster you say it, the funnier it is. Jarvis Jimno. The Tick and Arthur are on patrol and spot suspicious activity. The two get involved, blowing American Maid's plan to follow the thugs. Luckily, they find an invitation to Chairface Chippendale's evil birthday party. But unlike other criminals, Chairface doesn't want to make his mark on the world. So, I love the... Hold on, let me Google the word so I use it correctly. Nope, that was not the word I wanted to use. I love the energy of the Tick 94. It's so confident in its jokes and just like swings for the fences with them and almost always hits. Like the door going into this, like the first place that they go, it's a super weapons laboratory, parentheses, very deadly. And I was like, I'm watching all the Simpsons stuff. There's an episode of The Simpsons that does crossover with The Critic. And also writers from The Critic worked on The Simpsons and vice versa. And I'm really curious if writers on The Tick also worked on either of those shows, because they all feel of a conversation with each other. Like nowadays, it's like Family Guy, American Dad, and Rick and Morty are like adult TV shows that are like raunchy. But at the time, it was like, first of all, The Simpsons was way more raunchy back in the day. And like The Tick is not raunchy. It's still for kids, but like the jokes are a little bit higher brow than your standard kid. I might not have gotten half of these jokes when I watched it originally. American Maid, who's not a horny mess like she is in the Aughts one. It's so funny. It's so funny watching this next to the Aughts one and being like, the 2000s attempt to like make things edgy and like absurd is so fun, but it's so bad sometimes.
Odd, yeah.
Yeah, all my notes here are just like, this part was funny, this part was funny, as we expected.
Yeah, I don't know that we need to... I kind of think we can cover this very briefly, to be honest, the 1994 Tick, because like you're saying, it's mostly just a lot of jokes that I think are really good. I don't know that I have a new thought on like its deservedness for being a Couch Madness winner, or which Tick is cool or the best or whatever. But in the best way, it's reminding me of... Recently, I went to Spoons, Tunes, and Booze again, which I mentioned on the show before.
Nice.
It's kind of like in New York, some folks do like a brunch showing of cartoons, and there's a cereal bar and stuff like that. It's fun. And they have little like games in between for people to pick the cartoon. And I witnessed my hero in life, which was this girl who was like maybe young middle school age girl, go up to do one of the competitions to pick the next show. And they go to her and they're like, hey, who's your favorite cartoon character and what show do you want to win if you win? And she was like, favorite cartoon character, I guess, is, I don't know, like Daffy Duck or the Pink Panther. And I was like, okay, all right, she's cooking. And then they're like, okay, and what show are you playing for? She said, I'm playing for Rocky and Bullwinkle. And I was like, wow, yeah, you're cool. And then she won, and we watched Rocky and Bullwinkle, and that show is very clever and fast and funny, and the Tick is the same thing.
Is this 60s Rocky and Bullwinkle? Like old one?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There was a Dudley Do-Right segment in there that was so funny. I'm not gonna deviate too far from the Tick discussion to talk about other cartoons that I think are funny. But my point is, what I really enjoy about it is it's like that kind of classic mode of animation where like there isn't necessarily that divide between there's kids cartoons and there's adult cartoons.
Right.
And so the kids cartoons are being made by people who also want to make stuff that adults can enjoy, and they fill them with like very quick punchy jokes that a kid's not going to catch, but it's kind of, it almost feels like the writers are doing it for themselves in a fun way. Like,
or just for the parents watching with their kids.
Right, or that too, yeah. But yeah, let's just do some of our favorite jokes. Do you have other ones that you thought were good?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, really quick, I made the semi-promise last week. Simpsons episode to go along with each episode of a thing we cover here. BSG, that's Deep Space Homer, Slam Dunk. I love that episode. The Tick 94 is Radioactive Man. Easy. Moving on. Oh no, I have 2 more ticks to do that for. I'll get to them. Anyways, Tick 1990s. Let me find my jokes really quick. Rubberneck is an awesome supervillain grunt name. My name is Rubberneck. He has a rubber neck. That's so good.
Yeah, these guys were Rubberneck, Forehead, and Boils.
They literally sound like backroom Batman characters.
Yeah, it's really fun.
The slow pan up to Chairface's face was a better face reveal than Dream. I laughed so much. And I was like, oh, Chairface.
By that point in the episode, I was like, all right, I get it. It's kind of a funny cartoon. I don't know if I want to watch more. And then there's a dude with a freaking chair for a head. And I said, never mind. This show is amazing.
So funny. And I really wrote, like, the plot of this one's nothing special. They go to the party, they crash it, they fight guys.
Yeah, there's a bad guy, whatever. Yeah.
Every villain that's there is like a quick hit joke. You know, oh no, that guy. Oh, that guy. Ooh, her. I wrote the Rogues Gallery bit where they name all the people. It's really funny. And it reminded me for some reason of Spy Fox.
Sure.
I think that's the sort of vibe. And Chairface, by the way, voiced by Tony Jay, one of my favorite voice actors, a legend. He's got that sort of deep, sexy voice. And then when they're swinging from a rope at the end, there's swing music playing. And I was like, that is so weirdly subtle. You didn't have to do that, but I think that's funny. The medium of visual storytelling. So, what about you? Give me some jokes.
The initial fight with Boyle's Forehead and Rubberneck is really great. There are a couple pretty funny jokes. One of them, I think it's Forehead who says, you can play pajama police all you want, but we run this town, Bug Boy. And then the Tick's response at one point is, no one likes to be laughed at, friend. Which is just such a funny thing for a superhero to say. At one point, Arthur says, I'm the sidekick. Forehead says, okay, Boyles, kick him to the side. That's good. And then I love how expressive Chairface Chippendale's chair face is.
Yeah,
they really do a good job animating that. I super enjoyed in that last scene, everybody's taking a turn saying, the party's over, Chairface. And he's like, why do you keep saying that? I'm still fighting you. And then hilarious sight gag that he's trying to carve his name on the moon, but his name is just so long that he only gets through Cha. And so now the moon just says Cha.
Canonically, forever. In the world of the Tick, it just says Cha on the moon. Yeah, it's his favorite stat in D&D.
So funny. Oh yeah, that's clever. I like that.
Did you catch Sewer Urchin, a great character voiced by the legend Jess Harnell, who's the voice of Yakko from Animaniacs? Yeah, that was great. Sewer Urchin, good little bit character. I love him.
Yep.
Oh, anything else?
No, that's pretty much it for Tick 90s for me.
All right, let's jump ahead a couple, let's say 6 years or so? 7 years?
Yes.
It's the Tick 2001. This is the one with Patrick Warburton. This episode's called The Funeral. It is written by Ben Edlund again, and Christopher McCulloch, who I want to double check something if I know him from something. Yeah. Jackson Public? Christopher McCulloch? That one? Dead ass? Oh my god, that is him! He's the co-creator of the Venture Brothers. That explains so much about why this is good. I knew that name sounded familiar.
Okay.
He uses the pseudonym Jackson Public now, but That's Kristen McCulloch. It's the same guy. This episode's also directed by Andrew Tsao and aired November 15th, 01. John, what happened in the tick 01, the funeral?
Well, first of all, it was aired on my 8th birthday. So
Oh.
Anyway. Legendary superhero The Immortal dies during an amorous encounter with Captain Liberty, forcing Batmanuel to take his place for an autograph session attended by hordes of fans. What do you think of the second episode of Tick 2001?
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
This is the most canceled show we've ever watched.
Yeah.
It's so dinky. And the fact that it exists is so awesome. Like, it's really funny and weird, and the acting is awesome. But I don't know why any network executive even greenlit this for like 7 episodes or whatever. It's so weird and horny and kind of ugly. Like, I think I was reading, I remember we were talking the first one about like how do they do the tick's ears or antenna in this. It's fucking remote control, and it's like, why? Like, why do they have to move like that? There's no reason. And we'll definitely be talking about budget when it comes to the 2016 one, because I did some research on that. But like, I don't know, the whole central premise that an old man died having sex with a hot girl is like, makes me cringe but also laugh really hard. And this episode just kind of washed over me.
It feels like this show came out maybe like 2 or 3 years too early, because it didn't feel that different in pacing and just like, I don't know, whatever budget level from like an Arrested Development episode or something.
Yeah.
But it makes sense to me that in 2001, we're just not quite ready for this one yet. And somehow this show, like, it looks like they spent a lot of money on the costumes and pretty much nothing on anything else. We're just sitting in this diner the whole time.
The same diner from the pilot.
Chats together. The same diner. It seems like they're going back to that diner a lot. So I don't know. I don't think this episode is as good as the pilot.
No.
And I think this is honestly, of the 3, the one that I liked the least out of the 3 episode 2s. But it was still very entertaining because all of them are pretty good and lots of fun goofs and gags. I think the Tick is like too dumb in this version in a way that I don't like.
Warbird is charming, but I also need the Tick to like do certain things, like get shit done. And he does not do that. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, it's just very like, it's like a little too himbo for me, which Warburton is really good at. That's like his bread and butter, the sort of Kronk, and even his character on Seinfeld was like that. Joe from Family Guy is sometimes like that.
Yeah. So like, he's playing into his strengths, having a great time, and is very funny. And also, I think I like the other depictions of the Tick a little better, where he's kind of this like manic Adam West type guy. That's more entertaining to me. Like the Peter Serafinowicz portrayal. I like that more, and I think that might just be a matter of my taste more so than it is like an objective assessment of quality or whatever. But
yeah, I just think this is a less funny episode of a pretty good show. Like, it's wild how much my ratings of each of the Ticks changed this round, because in round 1 it was definitely 94 up top, 2000s number 2, 2016 at the bottom, and now it is, in terms of shows I want to watch more of,
go ahead.
2016 is number 1. 94 is number 2.
Top. Yep.
And 2000s is number 3, which is wild, because we already said we're gonna 13 or 13 to 2000s, and I still want to. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Batmanuel is so fucking funny, and the gags. The actor who plays the Immortal, by the way, is Dr. Schreiber from Freaks and Geeks, the dentist who I always the creepy
dentist. Doesn't he so much stuff?
Yeah, that actor is in a lot of stuff. I continue to. I think this is like tied for favorite Arthur. I like all the Arthurs. They're all so good. 90s Arthur is manic. 2000s Arthur is depressed. And 2016 Arthur has severe mental health problems that go deeper than a single joke I can make on a podcast. But in this one, a cute lady kisses Arthur, so we're like setting up a little plot line with Arthur and his like little girl crush, and I was like, oh my god, there's plot in the Tick 2000s. I'm going bananas. I just final note about this. the Tick doesn't need to be sexual. Like, it doesn't, not the character, the show doesn't need to be like this. I don't think it benefits
it's not really
it.
adding much. I think it's entertaining in contrast with the other ones.
Yes.
But if we were just watching it by itself, I do think it's pretty funny that the Immortal dies having sex with Captain Liberty. I don't know, as like an episode premise, it's like, okay, sure, that's fine.
And they have to weaken at Bernice's body back into the hotel, and Batman has to dress as him for a book signing.
Yeah.
That's great. That's fantastic writing. But it just doesn't come together in this one as much as it did for the pilot. And while I'm still excited to watch this, I found myself less engaged for sure.
Totally.
And I was like, oh God, is Tick not good? What's going on? And then the Tick 2016, a pilot that made me more mad at a show than I have been in so long.
Yeah.
Turns it around. And I was like, you know how I Googled during the first round, like, why do people like the Tick like so much? A lot of people, it's getting good user reviews. Tick 2016. And that's because the show Tick took a second to cook and is like kind of good now. It's not remarkable.
So good. No, it's remarkably good.
Okay, tell me why then, boss.
Well, we gotta say that. Also, I didn't get to say my stray notes from.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
from
sorry.
One. That's okay. Just a couple of quick lines. He's talking at the funeral. Did you know even a potato can die? That's fun.
Great.
Batmanuel is like pushing on something. Arthur says, I thought you said you would drop it. He says, I did drop it, but it came back again. Captain Liberty's yelling at Batmanuel, you promised me. And he says, that was before I changed my mind.
Yep.
I also liked when he gets the summons for like a paternity hearing or whatever.
Yeah, at the end.
And he reacts to it. And he's like, wait a minute, it's not for me in the Batmanuel accent. It's for, and then he puts on the Immortal fake accent, me. It's a fun little bit of acting. And then this was like very written by a writer, but I thought it was kind of a clever turn of phrase. The cops at the funeral, it's like, wait a minute, let him talk. I'm starting to like the cut of this man's gibberish. That's a good line. You know, you got to give.
I'll laugh. Absolutely.
Anyway, The Tick 2016 is an amazing television program.
No way.
It's extremely very good. This episode is called Where's My Mind, written by Ben Edlund, directed by Wally Pfister, originally airing on August 25th, 2017. In the episode, I'm going to give you the summary.
Okay.
Tick and Arthur have a run-in with local villainess Miss Lint and her gang, who will stop at nothing to get back the mysterious supersuit that Tick took from them, and gave to Arthur. Dot, Arthur's paramedic sister, moonlights for an unsavory business. Whoa.
Also, she does roller derby, which is gay.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of random, but fun.
What happened?
The lines are so fun and good. The heroic moment, that pointy fulcrum in time. The narration is so great. I just think they really nail the Tick as a character. And
yeah.
Like the Arthur stuff is still kind of like, really, you're gonna get this serious with it, and how much of this is a joke versus not, and there's a lot of plot here, maybe too much plot, but I kind of don't care because I love Peter Serafinowicz as the Tick.
He's really good.
The moment where Miss Lint is shocking him, she says, "Why won't you die?" He says, I don't wanna.
What the heck? I can't believe this show is good, guys. In an episode called Where's My Mind that features a man on the street playing Where Is My Mind on a kazoo diegetically, I was like going into it so ready to dunk on it, and then I was like, oh, Miss Lint is a great villain. Oh, the action is good. Oh, the storytelling is good. What's going on? And it's funny. Like, I think at its core, what really course corrected in this is that the Tick is real, and they're not leaning into the like, is the Tick fake? Is he like in your head? Like, right? Because people see him now. And dropping that element took it from like subversive, dark take on the Tick and brought it back into like, okay, this is a Tick show. It's a more realistic and it's about a darker subject matter, but not in the like, what if they fucked way that Tick 2000s does. Like in a remarkable turn of fate, this episode eats the Tick 2000s episode's lunch by being adult and mature without being crass about it.
Right. And I think what I like about it also is it's doing a good job of doing a pastiche of modern dramas, modern superhero stuff, the way that every superhero thing now kind of has an edge of that, or at least a lot of movies try to have that kind of element.
Mm-hmm.
And so setting it up like, oh, the Tick is a figment of his imagination, and then immediately undercutting it and being like, no, what? I love the line where he says, of course I'm real. Who's not real? They're just like, yeah, we are gonna make fun of the trappings of things that take themselves too seriously, which I think the Where Is My Mind Kazoo thing is also that. It's
Yeah.
making fun of, something like, sorry to say it, but something like The Leftovers that'll do a needle drop like that where main Leftovers character guy is
Kevin.
listening to Kevin. Wasn't he listening to Where Is My Mind at some point?
Yeah, I think so. I think he was.
I don't know if that's like a direct call out or if that lines up. This might predate that.
Well,
actually.
I think this is the this predates that by a year. Well, if you're talking about season 3, but he did it in an earlier season. I think the trend had started before this, and is now we're like getting it everywhere of the like dark version of an old song, or a we use an old song in a different way kind of thing. That's in every movie trailer now. It's such a trope, and they are making fun of it here.
Yeah, so I think the satire is a little sharper in that regard. Because in the first episode, it's kind of unclear, are you actually doing this like gritty reboot of The Tick? Are you making fun of the idea of doing that? But then you're also making this gritty stuff matter, which is a little confusing.
Yeah.
So I think they get a much better sense of it in this one.
Wait, wow, interesting. So The Tick came out all at once, in chunks, I guess. Yeah, like 3 or 4 episode chunks, basically. But season 1 came out a full year before. Season 1 episode 1 came out a full year before season 1 episode 2.
Oh, okay.
Which is wild. I wonder if there was like some reconfiguring. I'll have to read about that. The other thing that's like sad about realizing that The Tick 2016 is good is realizing why it was canceled after 22 episodes. Do you want to guess what it was?
I don't know. Money.
Well, money. Yeah, money's definitely the big one. So this show, way too expensive, like millions of dollars over budget. The way that they did his suit is the suit had seams on it because it was a sewed suit or whatever, and they CGI out the seams in every single shot that he's in.
Stop it. That's so
horrible. Waste. Just show the seams. It's a suit. It's okay. So that's unfortunate. Wildly over budget, which Amazon would never allow. And like, maybe this isn't the reason it got canceled, but I'm sure somebody knew that they were going to start adapting it soon. The Boys would come out a couple years later and proceed to do like dark superhero send up much more successfully, if not better. I have never watched The Boys. I know people keep recommending it, maybe someday, but The Boys seems to have just kind of eaten the show's lunch and become Amazon's. They were like, we don't need more than one dark superhero show. So it seems like they kind of dropped one for the other. Although I guess Invincible is a dark superhero show, but not in the same way. Anyways, The Tick just kind of bad place, bad time. 2016, 2017, not the right time for this also. It really bums me out that to have finally liked it and then been like, oh, that's why it's not on. And that's why I never heard of it until we looked this up. And also, like, what are the odds of a show that gets, or a comic book that gets adapted not 1, not 2, but 3 times, and the main creator of the original comic is involved in all 3 versions?
I know, it's so great, and he's so fucking funny every time.
He still has it.
It's really cool to see. The pilots were fairly similar in terms of like the story beats, right? It's like Arthur meets a tick, Arthur decides to go on this adventure, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, each one is kind of twisting it in different ways. These episode 2s totally different from each other. There's no like plot similarity, no we're doing the same beats as one another whatsoever. And yet there's still a common comedic sensibility and this feeling of freshness with every single one. You're not sick of the way that The Tick does jokes in 2016. If anything, it's just as refreshing as it was in the 1994 version.
Right.
So, yeah, I really liked it.
Edlund has had such an interesting career, by the way. Just to go down some of his stuff real quick. Film-wise, he only wrote 2 movies. One called ABC Manhattan, which I've never heard of. And the other one is the tragically ultra animated flop movie, Titan A.E., which he had screenplay credits on along with Joss Whedon and John August. you hate to see it. So he obviously, as we talked about before, worked with Whedon after The Tick 94 and 01. He worked on Firefly and Angel. Back to Christopher McCullough, he worked on Venture Brothers. He did a bunch of Supernatural episodes. He did an episode of Star Wars: The Clone Wars and then he just like has done a bunch of stuff that gets canceled. Revolution, Gotham, Powers. These are all like decent shows that just like did not take off. And I don't know what he's working on these days, but it bums me out because I'm like, first of all, Massachusetts resident, we love to see that. And second of all, I don't want to just be like, maybe you should just do The Tick for the rest of your life. But like, it's the only thing he's done that has like at least partially stuck with people. And that I feel mixed about that.
I bet you'll get one more crack at it.
Yeah. And he's a white guy in Hollywood. He's fine. He's not canceled to my knowledge, other than working with Joss Whedon. And like, yeah, I would like to see another Ben Edlund project, whether it's a script or a show or whatever. But go ahead and rank these ticks for me again, just to make sure we know this week.
I'm with you. I mean, this will be part of our post-break conversation as well. But
True.
I am like jazzed to watch more Tick 2016, and I have to see where it goes next. 94 is like, I could watch a season of that right now and just kind of drift into a wonderful laughing fit.
Yeah.
And 2001 is like, I want to study this.
Yeah, I want to put a magnifying glass on this and see how it got made.
I want to see this like ass decision you made here. Yeah. Couple quick lines from 2016, and then we can go into our chamber.
Yeah.
When he's trying to get the bad guys to leave Arthur alone, he says, "Unhand that precious balloon of hope."
And I wrote that line down too. That's beautiful.
He says, "It's like bullet Christmas with you people."
Just a good delivery. A great line delivery.
When Dot is at the roller derby and one of her teammates is trying to talk to her, she calls her Stretch or Slim, or I don't remember what she calls her. And Dot's like, "Don't call me that." And she says, "I'm being mean. We're on the oval. It's being mean time."
Yeah.
It's cute. I think one of
Did you catch the ad? Oh, go ahead.
What ad? Oh, for
Superior.
the like, not everything that glows is gonna give you powers.
Gives you superpowers. That was funny. That was like,
that was good.
In my notes I was like, wait, was this the aughts one or the 2016 one? But it's the 2016 one. Pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I really, really love the moment where the Tick and Arthur are talking about, whatever. It's like, keep the suit, blah, 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 blah. And the Tick just pauses, breathes in, and says, "Have you ever seen a more beautiful alley?" So funny. And then he says, "Oh, I always let destiny do the melon work, friend."
I didn't understand that line. The melon.
As in, like, melon, like your head, like thinking. Like,
brain work.
I don't plan ahead of time. I just let Jesus take the wheel. Kind of
That's hilarious. Okay, I got it.
It's just like they kind of like dial up the Tick's idiosyncratic way of talking in this version, which I find very amusing. And then the other big laugh I had, I liked the interaction between Miss Lint and the Ramses the Fourth, and like, we're villains, and that part was all fun.
Yeah, that's all good.
She keeps shocking herself with static electricity. And then I really liked when Dot and the Tick meet, and then she has to go take a phone call or something, and quietly to himself, the Tick goes, "Telephone call." It's like, why did you make that?
Why did she say that? I think the fact that I'm laughing at it now means it's a good joke, but when I watched it, I was like, why did they write that? What?
It felt like an improv moment, honestly.
Yeah, telephone call.
Telephone call. Anyway, so I really liked Tick 2016.
I can't believe it. I believe it, but I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either.
Oh, well, that's our notes and thoughts on the matchup this week. We hope you can guess which one's going to win, because we're going to go deliberate. We'll be right back after this brief musical break, and you'll hear those deliberations as we decide who wins between the Tick and Battlestar Galactica. Welcome back to Couch Madness. I am still Alan, and he is still my stalwart young ward. It's Magellan.
Hey, what's up?
Hello, Big Jeffrey. It's time. We have entered the Chamber of Commerce.
Secrets. Oh.
Secret Commerce. I saw a TikTok recently of a live performance of the Avatar: The Last Airbender soundtrack, and they did like a cool version of Secret Tunnel, and it made me cry. What do we think about that Avatar Netflix thing? Are you like looking for? I know you hated the original show, or you hated doing the podcast. Or...
Leave me alone. Stop
Okay.
it.
How do you feel? Okay, fine. Original question with no sauce on it. How do you feel about the
you.
new Netflix ATLA?
Neutral. I'm not going to watch it, so I don't feel like making an opinion about it.
Okay, fair enough. I have to.
Unless
watch
people want us to watch it, and then I will form very strong opinions about it almost instantly.
Probably to piss people, and opinions that'll piss people off.
Yeah, probably.
Good. We're here to
Speaking of
deliberate.
opinions that'll piss people off.
Yes.
Let's do this conversation, huh?
Yes.
Okay, so kind of a weird decision, kind of harder than I thought it was going to be, to be honest with you. No, you don't think so. Do you want to? I always do the gut check first.
You know?
Do you want to go first?
I do.
Or do you want me
I
to
want
go
to go
first?
I want to go first.
Okay, what do you got?
I picked Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
Oh, I have to say something about it?
No.
Okay. What do you pick?
Okay, we've done this bit before.
I know, and I feel the deja vu. I feel it. Why Battlestar Galactica? Well, because I've never seen it before. We rarely do shows that Magellan has watched and I haven't. There's a ton of spoilery things that I haven't seen yet. I'm excited by the premise of watching and discussing this good but bad but good show week to week. Simple, elegant, beautiful. Go ahead.
Great. Okay, my gut check is The Tick 2016.
I almost spit my water out. Dead ass?
Yeah, just for the sake of argument. Yeah.
Oh my god, we have to fight now, y'all.
Because here's the thing: is it's really a decision between am I picking a show for me or for other people? Because you watching BSG is really fun. Watching BSG with Amanda, with Sam, like I was saying, gathering around the hearth of the television, that was a really great experience. And I've seen it before, so it wasn't as stimulating to me in that respect. Whereas The Tick 2016, I've never fucking seen a thing like that before. What the heck is going on the TV screen? Give me more of it. This is honestly a bit of a meme of an argument, if I'm being real. I think Battlestar Galactica is probably the better choice. But
fight for
I would be happy if The Tick 2016 won. I would feel good.
Good. I want you to feel happy. That's partly why we chose Xena, because it made us happier.
Yeah.
Embrace joy.
And I think I still feel good about doing 13 under 13 for Tick 01. I kind of am ready to say I don't need to cover the Tick 94.
Wow. Yeah, you're right.
I just don't think like 2 episodes a week of a really funny cartoon is a podcast with the lenses that we use. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Maybe if we had like a slightly different format, or we were doing a thing where we were like, we're going to watch some cartoons for a while, and here's how we're going to do that. I don't have a sense in my head of what that would look like, but like I'd rather just watch a bunch of Tick 94 alongside doing the 13 under 13 of the Tick 01, and then just check in and be like, hey, I watched these episodes. Here are some funny things that happened, without the pressure of needing to like dissect it and analyze it, But the Tick 2016, now that is a potential Couch Madness winner right there, for sure.
What are you saying?
For sure. That could go all the way.
You realize?
I mean, think about it.
Okay.
Tick 2016 versus Fringe, easy pick. The Tick.
Fringe. What are you saying?
Tick 2016 versus Death Note. Get that Death Note out of here because I want more of the Tick.
Oh no, listener. At the beginning of round 1, everyone was like, Alan's going cuckoo spaghetti. Why did you pick fucking whatever you picked over Heroes? Well, because I like to be chaotic. And now Magellan has swallowed the chaos gene and has fully embraced this fucking bunk ass, low rent ass, Amazon original ass 22 episode canceled mess over thoughts and logic and things he actually enjoys and that will make him happy. Do you know that Xena will be the longest chat season ever?
Xena will be that's what you said?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
Xena would be, if not for the Tick
will
2016.
Be, I hate you. What's that Vine that's like, I'll tell secrets about each other. I'll go first. I hate you.
All right, let's break it down. Let's break it down. Moments, memes, schemes, screams, and themes. Memes is the Tick 2016.
What is going on? I'm texting Amanda.
I mean, am I wrong?
I'm texting Amanda right now. I'm saying pick him up. He needs juice and ice cream.
Well, this feels indisputable. The Tick 2016 is funnier than Battlestar Galactica. You can at least give it that.
Sorry, I'm actually texting Amanda something.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Sorry, go ahead.
Can you just agree so that we can go on to the next one?
I agree.
Okay. Schemes, which had more moments of intrigue and plot movement.
Battlestar Galactica.
You could make the case, okay,
that
because we didn't even talk about the part at the end where there's like that super violent hero guy who saves Arthur. It's like, who's this Deadpool looking ass? What's this about? And then we get a flashback.
Sorry, Amanda texted me back.
Okay, you're gonna have to let us in to this conversation.
I said, and I quote, I'm sure she'd be fine with me saying this. Magellan's going to come off of this podcast extremely chaotic. Just a heads up in case he aims that chaos at you later. And she said, I truly appreciate that. Destroyed, ruined. And obviously by telling you this, you're going to dial it back and be so normal around her. Like, hello, baby, I'm Magellan. I'm your boyfriend. But, like, it's in there. It's cooking. I can smell it. And I'm like several states away.
I gotta actually calm myself down a little bit. I'm overstimulated right now.
You're gonna go to bed soon, exactly. More moments of intrigue and plot movement. That's definitely BSG. There's so many plot threads. Thank you. Fine. What do you mean fine? I'm right.
Well, we also got the flashback with Miss Lint and the bad guy.
Who cares about Miss Lint?
We learned the origin of why she's called Miss Lint.
Because she controls static electricity.
Yeah, and because Lint would stick to her, but it became her strength. He was
exactly.
such a mentor to her.
Who?
The bad guy.
What's his name?
The Terror.
Good job.
I had to think about it for a second.
Yeah, because he's not a memorable bad guy. Although he is played by Jackie Earle Haley, who is great.
There was a student, an 11th grader, who walked by me at school today, who I recently met, and she was like, "Oh, hey, do you remember my name?" And I did remember her name, and I was like, "Bye." And then I was like, "Whew." Oh boy. Because I do forget a lot of names, so that was a
quick. What's my name? Quick.
Anyway, Screams, which had more moments of excitement and surprise.
The guy who plays Superior on The Tick is married to Tatiana Maslany in real life.
That's cool. Maybe she'll show up in The Tick 2016.
God, I hope so. Excitement and surprise.
Be fire.
That's The Tick.
Wow, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I'm so sad that the last picture she was on was fucking She-Hulk, which sucked.
She'll get another crack at something good. She's just too talented not to do many more things.
Yeah.
Themes which have more moments addressing what the show is about. I mean, we said that BSG is just like a big old fucking stew of themes.
Literally.
In a great way. Characters, the Clunks, Hunks, Junks, and Punks. Clunks, which are characters that were dorkier in a fun way. The Tick.
There's no dorks on BSG.
Hunks.
Now that's BSG. Everyone's kind of hot on BSG.
Yeah, if that had been 2001 Tick would have won, but 2016 Tick is not a hunky show. The Junks. Yep, that's the Tick. And then, of course, the Punks. Rebellious?
No, I think that's actually the Tick. The only people who are rebellious on BSG are like Starbuck. Yeah. Showbud military.
Does it count as rebellious when the president and the general disagree with each other? Is one rebelling against the other?
I think that's Clunks. They're dorky. The interesting thing, by the way, about the military portrayal in BSG is I don't feel as weird about it as I do with the military in Stargate. Because I read another scholarly article that said that BSG, in addition to being a military show and a religious show, is also a travel show, which I love. I love a travel show. That's why I've always been interested in Supernatural from a distance, because it's a travel show. But it has this very specific, this is about the military, and it's optimistic, and they are the good guys, but they are fundamentally so flawed. Whereas on Stargate, we're not
right.
saying they're like the brass is evil on Stargate, like the higher ups, but like
Yeah.
those down in the dirt soldiers, those are the real good guys. And I think that they really do approach their portrayals of the military very differently, which is why I feel less weird about it on BSG.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
just want to say that, put that on the record.
It's also like in Stargate, it is textually the American military. In BSG, it is a military.
Right.
So, that feels a little different.
Mhm.
All right, the foundations, the clues, crews, use, and choose. Clues, which has more plot to explore and unravel over time. Fine, it's BSG.
Yeah, it is. I don't even have to say it.
Crews, more ensemble dynamics to dig into. Fine.
BSG. Yes, yes, yes.
More thematic range.
Whoa.
What do you think of that one?
What do you think of that one, big man? Go ahead.
I think
bring out
the
the Dommy
tick-
Mommy personality.
Well,
The what?
I think I think the Tick is doing a great job telling this kind of like characterful, tender brother sister thing. It's also kind of like zany, off the wall, goofy. It's also, this is like a genre pastiche of dark, gritty dramas. I think it's actually able to hit a bunch of different things pretty well. And I think BSG has a lot of themes, but they're all kind of clustered together into this sort of, oh God, that kind of zone. So, thematic range? I think it's the Tick.
Fine. No, it's fine.
BSG definitely has way bigger shoes. I mean,
Yeah, mileage
It's a
for its
travel
base
show.
premise. Exactly.
all right, and then the
God
little
damn
dormers.
it.
It fits, hits, its, and wits. Fits, which makes better use of costumes and props. I will die on the hill that the fucking octagonal paper in Battlestar Galactica is so ridiculous. I
Good.
hate every time I look at a piece of paper on that stupid show.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
Give
it's
me-
so good and interesting.
No. Give me one reason why their paper has the corners cut off.
Because they
It's less
cut
paper
corners
space.
on the show.
Mm.
Didn't we read that somewhere?
Oh yeah,
That's
that was
why
like a
they did-
joke, right?
I don't know if it's a joke or real. No, we'll never know.
Can we give this to the Tick? I mean,
Fine.
we spent all of that money editing out the seams, so we got to give them the costume.
They burned their own show's budget. Ugh. It's fine. Better use of music. Do you remember? Oh, Where Is My Mind Kazoo? That goes to BSG. BSG has the chanting, has the priests. I love the music in BSG.
Yeah. It's which makes better use of the cast and guests.
The Tick. Miss Lind.
Thank you.
Miss Lind, call me.
Which makes better use of script and writing. The
BSG.
Tick.
What the fuck?
What?
No, BSG.
What?
Right? BSG. It's 3 letters.
Say one line from the BSG episode that stuck with you. One line.
The world is falling apart and I'm worried that I'm going to die of cancer.
Fine.
Bam.
Fine.
Name one line from the Tick. Don't score your notes up.
Have you ever seen a more beautiful alley?
No, that's BSG, babe. Come on. Be so
Fine.
for real with me. Thank you.
Fine.
Now count
9
them
to
up.
7. 9 to
9 to 7, I
BSG.
win.
9 to 7 BSG.
All right, I win. I know what I'm picking.
Okay.
Check this out.
Oh no! Sorry. No, I counted wrong. 8 to 8.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to be the deciding factors. Then here we go. I'm typing my vote. How do I spell T?
We don't want to do any more final discussion.
Be for real, homie. Be real with me. We're doing a fun little gag. Yes, the Tick 2016
all right.
episode 2 is better than it has any right to be. Is
All
it
right,
a
I'll be real with you.
chatsable show though?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Magellan,
It's
this is
definitely a
like-
chatsable show.
No. This is the thing that's real about Magellan. I am telling you, the listener, that being like IRL friends with Magellan for so long, I've learned that sometimes he likes to hold you hostage with his jokes. Like, just hold you by the shoulders and be like,
No.
"You will listen to me."
I'm being real. I'll be
I
real.
know.
I
But
do
what
do that. Acknowledged. Sorry,
Okay.
go ahead. You finish your thought.
The
I'm so
point I was
sorry
gonna
for
make
interrupting.
is that it's all right. What watching the Tick 2016 with us feels like us holding the listener hostage for 11 weeks.
Okay. Fair feedback. That's fair feedback. Yeah.
I just don't want to hurt the
It
listener
w-
like that.
It would be a deep bit. A deep, long bit.
Yeah.
And that does sound delightful. And, that is kind of my Achilles heel as someone who has a role in crafting chats content is I like doing that to the listener, and that's probably not a good
Okay.
idea.
Well, you have to make your choice.
Okay. So I'll be real.
Yes, here we go.
I insist that the Tick 2016 is interesting and highly discussable.
Mhm.
it's also probably longer than we should spend talking about the Tick 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I want to watch the Tick 2016 very
Okay.
badly.
Okay.
If it doesn't win right now, I don't really see a future where we watch it, because we're going to watch the Tick 2001 for 13 Under 13.
Mm-hmm.
So these are kind of like, this is the swan song to me for Tick 2016. I'm like fighting for it so hard because I know that,
You are half the vote.
Yeah,
It
so
hasn't
goodbye.
lost yet.
I know, but it doesn't deserve to win Couch Madness.
This
It
is
doesn't deserve
whoa.
It doesn't.
Interesting. Say
It's
more
a
about
meme.
that, man.
I'm doing a big meme, but if I'm about to cast my vote, I need to make the responsible decision. I haven't told you what it is yet. I have
know.
not told you what that vote is yet. But yeah, that's me being real with you.
What I was gonna say is, yeah, I've been playing a lot of Tekken 8 lately. It's new, and I'm having a great time with it. I'm getting high ranked and whatever.
Nice, congrats.
Sometimes, thank you. When I get salty, and I used to be way worse about this until people like Six helped me get out of this rut. I would do what's called wet fishing, which is when you know, in any competitive game, you stop playing your best because you know you're going to lose. It's considered very bad sportsmanship to wet fish because like play the match out, you know, accept the loss instead of like laying down and not trying. That's very childish. I'm not saying you're doing that, but I think that saying before we voted yet, like I know what's going to win is like it has exactly as much chance right now to win. We have not voted yet. I'm just saying. I want you to be confident in your pick if that's what you feel, because I want to fight you in Tekken 8.
Interesting. What an interesting thing for you to say.
What an interesting response.
What an interesting thing for you to say.
I just want you to make your pick. Do you have any other thoughts or things you want to say to convince me, maybe?
I had an improv teacher who the way that he would explain, like when you're in a scene, you're thinking about how to respond to somebody. You ask yourself 3 questions. What did they say? Why did they say that? And how does it make me feel? And I'm trying to do that with what you just said. Okay. He would also always say it like this. He would say, what did they say? Why did they say that? How does that make me feel?
See Batman?
No. So you just said that I should stick up for my vote, right? Mm-hmm. And that it has as good a chance as anything to win.
Yes.
Why did they say that? Well, now I'm thinking maybe you're about to vote for the Tick and you want me to vote for the Tick because you want to do the Tick. It is the prisoner's dilemma.
But maybe
how does that make me feel? It makes me excited and scared. Right. What is the game that you're playing right now?
Yes. This is awesome. I love this. Is exactly what Couch Madness needed to be. This is perfect, y'all.
What in the world?
I'm looking to the listener off camera right now, and they know what's going to happen because they know how much longer is left in the episode. Go ahead. Tell me what else.
I'm ready to vote. I'm ready to vote.
All right. You sure?
I'm ready to vote.
Okay, great. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, listener, we reached an impasse. BSG. Oh, BSG, he changed it. Wait, why? Why? Don't be a coward. Why?
I was going to vote for BSG anyway, but I wanted to vote for the Tick 2016 on the off chance that you were going to vote for it. And
that's bullshit. You double voted, basically.
Fine, let's vote again.
Okay, great.
Let's vote again.
Okay. Okay, you know what? Actually, how do I?
And this vote is binding.
Okay, for sure.
This vote is binding. Whatever. If we agree, we have to watch it.
So good. Okay, 5, 4.
This is binding.
3, 2. This is binding. 1. Go. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I did it, y'all. Guy in small tar. I'm coming home, baby girl. I'm coming home.
I'm coming home, baby girl.
PSG wins the matchup. All I have to do is stand my ground. This is like playing coup. You just have to not lie ever. Just only be honest, and nobody else beat that. Says the person who always loses coup. By the way. Congratulations to Battlestar Galactica. I finally destroyed that stupid little bug, the Tick, and his gay little butterfly friend, Arthur.
Well, we'll see Tick go on at some point in 13 Under 13, and who knows?
We can incorporate other Ticks.
Will be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's a lot of ancillary Tick material, so
Yeah,
that'll be
I
fun.
could go meet Bet Edlund. I could go to the New England Comics and buy Tick Comics.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this is
Uh-huh.
important. I forgot to do this. I'm changing my vote. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
Just kidding. Ryan S on the Discord channel wanted to know if we do BSG, what ancillary material are we going to cover along with it? There's like a bunch. I definitely want to do Caprica. Caprica seems really interesting.
Yep.
What is Razor?
I think it's like a spin-off movie or something.
Hour 41. Leah Dama's first mission as commander of the Pegasus. Okay.
Yeah, it's like those weird B5 movies kind of thing. It's like one of those.
Oh, where it's canon, but who cares?
Oh, right.
BSG The Plan is the other one that he recommends. So what is that? Are you told with more emphasis on the style and perspective in their plan? There's two versions of the style. I don't want to read too much of this. This might be spoilers.
Yeah, don't read too much of it.
Occurs just prior to the destruction. Okay, I'm
Stop
reading.
Yeah, I'd be down to watch all that stuff. Like, do it the Babylon 5 way, where we just cover it all.
Okay.
That feels good to me. My question is more, do we watch the original at all? Let's see what's going on there.
I'd watch like an episode of it. Nobody
Yeah,
says
just
it's worth watching.
Yeah, just to see what's happening.
Did you know there was a sequel show called Battlestar Galactica: The Second Coming?
Huh?
What if we only watch that?
BSG.
It was an attempt to make a sequel to the original series.
Oh, to the original series.
Yeah.
Whoa. Was a proposed 1999 science fiction action film.
Oh, it's a film.
There's also Galactica 1980, which is a spin-off of the original Battlestar Galactica.
What? No, I'm good.
It's 10-episode spin-off.
No, I'm probably good. I mean, we'll see how I feel by the end of the main show. Like, if I'm like, I never want to engage with this property again, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely, bare minimum, the Plan and the other thing I just said.
Mm-hmm.
The Plan and the
Razor
and Caprica.
Yeah.
What's Caprica
Cool.
about? Can I read that? Can I look up what that's about?
No.
At all?
Let me check. I don't want you to check. I think it's a prequel.
Okay.
Television series, a spin-off prequel. Yeah.
Okay. Ooh,
shows how humanity first created the Cylon androids who would later turn against their human masters.
Oh, that sounds great. What could possibly go wrong? Eric Stoltz? Yeah. Love Eric Stoltz.
Yeah.
The original Marty McFly.
Yeah.
Anyways, great. That was the only listener thing I had that I wanted to make sure to bring up.
Cool.
What's next? Oh, next week.
Talk about next week, yeah. So next week we are finishing round 2 of Couch Madness with another interesting matchup that I think is going to be a tough choice.
Nope.
Actually, a really tough choice.
Oh, no, it will be tough. No, it definitely will be tough.
Yeah. Fringe versus Death Note. That's I don't think that's going to be easy. Yeah. So we shall see. Fringe versus Death Note. Next week.
People use the challenge, which is linked in every episode. I update it after like a couple hours after the episode comes out. I know y'all are out there trying to spoil the episode for yourself and look it up early. Every time I hear somebody does that, I will post it later and later until you don't get to use the challenge anymore. I just actually don't care. It's fine, guys. You're gonna listen to it either way. But I do post it. I do it a couple hours into Sunday because I want people to listen to at least some of the pod and before I post the result. But it is on there. It's up to date.
Just checking in on whose predictions are most accurate so far.
Oh, right.
And nobody's doing great, actually.
Really?
Yeah, the top performing ones were the one called On the Edge of Victory. Okay, this one's, actually pretty accurate so far, predicting that Fringe wins it all. And then Only Because SG1 is Too Long for a Chat Spot Season is another one. And that one is more off. Anyway.
So sorry, the title is Only Because SG1 is Too Long for a Chat Spot Season.
That's the name of the prediction.
Great.
The one that is the most incorrect right now, I believe, is yours, which
Alan's
is
totally emotion-based predictions. Yo, I gave it to Heroes. What drugs was I on? Were I on?
Yeah, you had Heroes taking Stargate. Legend of Korra beating Xena. You didn't know.
I couldn't have known. I could not have known.
You could not have known. Yeah.
Wow,
I'm not faring much better for what it's worth with my prediction.
Brutal. Damn.
I also thought Heroes was going to beat Stargate and Korra was going to beat Xena. Come on. We don't know a thing. We didn't. I mean, before week one, or round 1, I didn't
know what Xena's vibe was. Straight up.
True.
So
True.
I'm happy to be surprised.
Anyway, so next week, Fringe and Death Note, which will be fun.
Yes, indeed. That being said, it's time to talk about, paying the bills. Magellan, where can people find you on the internet?
They can find me online on another podcast called Super Smash Echoes that I do with my friend Justin, where we play and discuss video games related to the Super Smash Brothers franchise, Super Smash Echoes. Check it out. You can also read some of my writing on my Substack, notthatmagellan.substack.com. Alan, what about you?
You can hear me on a few podcasts that can be found on the Creature Quorum, which is a podcast about Pokemon, Monster Hunter, and more over on scanlinemedia.com. You can also find my hopefully soon-to-be monthly tabletop Korean reality game show, storytelling radio drama, The Garnet Wager, over there with voice talents from Magellan in recent episodes. And every other month you can hear me on Talking Marketing, which is a marketing podcast I do for AMA Boston. That's at amaboston.org or Talking Marketing on any podcast platform. It is time for the Chats Plug Zone. Gotta plug it in. Gotta charge the batteries. If you have questions, comments, or concerns for us and want to talk about our picks, our matchups, whatever, our email address is chatspod.com. That's CHATZPOD. We are on X, aka Twitter, aka the Nasty Boy site, at chatspod. We also are on chatspod.bsky.social if you want to switch over there. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, welcome. Give it a like. Give us a subscribe. We do podcasts like this every week. We also talk about Star Trek every 6 weeks. It's super fun. Make sure you check out Chats on YouTube. If you like the show, you can support us in a few ways. In addition to the above, you can rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you have the financial means, we encourage you to check out our Patreon, which is patreon.com/chatspod. Where at different tiers, you get different bonuses. And you get to suggest us things to watch at $3 and $5 a month. We have this new format now where every month we take a listener suggestion, we slap it on a wheel, and then we do it or watch it or play it or make it. And those are going to prove to be pretty freaking fun. I can already tell. $5 or more gets you what I described and our backlog of pilots, commentaries, and hangout pods. And it gets you things at the end of every main feed episode. As of today, our $5 plus patrons include Arthur, Emrys, Felicia, Jen, Justin, Kyrie, Lee, Marcus, May Louise, Magellan's mom, Great Gift Nick, as he's asked to be called, and Pat of the Brothers at Infinite War, Noel, Six, and Stefan. Thank you all so very much for supporting Chats. We really appreciate you. If you like our main feed art, it can be found by looking up Camilla. She's at Camilla Straight on social media platforms. And that's what I got, folks. Now, before we take it to the close, our final segment is called Chatsums, because like the Vlasic snack, and we want you to take a crunch out of this little piece and enjoy something between now and next week. Magellan, what is or are your Chatsums?
My Chatsum this week is a really, really cool board game that I played on Friday that kind of evokes a similar feeling to the deliberation we just had, where we're trying to assess each other's motives and whatever. It's called Inhuman Conditions. Let me pitch you on it.
Okay.
Have you seen Blade Runner?
Several times. Oh, the listener.
No, you, Alan. I'm asking you
Several
as a proxy.
times.
You're a proxy for the listener. Do you like those scenes in Blade Runner where they're trying to interview someone to see if they're a replicant or not?
The Voight comp test scenes? Yes, I love those scenes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Would you like to play a board game that is that?
Oh, I guess I would. Maybe. I'll say more, though.
So this is how Inhuman Conditions work. One person is an interviewer and the other is an interviewee, a suspect, a something who's being evaluated to see if they are a robot or not. That person who's being interviewed secretly is assigned a role where they're one of three things. They're just a human, typical human, nothing bad, nothing to hide. They are a patient robot, or they are a violent robot. A patient robot is just trying to get to the end of the interview without being exposed. And a violent robot is trying to accomplish a set of tasks that they have in front of them so that they can kill the interviewer before the interview ends. And the patient robots have restrictions on how they can talk. That might be something like, you can't speak about anything that happened to you more than a day ago. So you need to speak about it in the hypothetical or whatever. And so what ends up happening is you as the interviewer know that there's some kind of odd way of engaging with the conversation that indicates if somebody's a robot or not. And you're spending the whole time trying to figure out if they are or if they're just a person who's like making a weird conversational choice because they're in like an awkward improv scene with you.
Interesting.
So it's really fun, really interesting. The first time I played, I was being interviewed and I was a human. And it was so stressful being a human because the whole time you're like, oh, God, am I? Oh, that sounded kind of robot-y, huh? How do I seem more human? How do I prove that I'm human? So it's great. And the box has like
simulator.
Right, exactly. The box has like 11 different scenarios, which are different topics and lists of questions for the interviewer to ask. So when I played an interviewer, I picked the question topics that were all about imagination. And so I was like prompting my friend, who it turns out he was a violent robot. I was prompting him to make up like a shape that nobody had ever seen before. And, you know, it was fun. And at the end, you get to like stamp their paper with either the red stamp or the blue stamp. So it's a really, really cool game in human conditions. I highly recommend it.
Sounds fun. Should bring it the next time.
Yeah,
oh, wait, I'm
was fun.
coming over. I can.
And
play
each
it.
interview is only like 5 minutes, which is great too. So you can play a bunch of rounds of it in quick
Oh,
succession.
and the box for it is cute. It comes in a cute little boxy box.
Yeah, the bits are. It's the production on it's real nice.
I love that.
Yeah. What about you? What's your Chatson?
I got a couple shotgun Chatsons for you.
Okay.
It's winter, so I watch a lot of movies and TV right now. I want to briefly give a shout out to the new Mr. and Mrs. Smith show with Donald Glover and Maya Erskine. It's a remake of the 2005 movie, but with like young, hot millennials. It's so fun. I watched the first episode and I was like, wait, they nailed this? They like figured out how to make a Mr. and Mrs. Smith show in 2024. If you watch this on Prime, the whole thing came out. Unfortunately, they did the 8-episode drop at once, which sucks. Don't stick around for the preview of the whole season. There are so many spoilers in it. I was like, what the fuck? You just spoiled the whole show. So it's great from the first episode. I'm going to be watching more of it, but I'm going to kind of drip feed it because it's already all out. And it's like, what the hell? I really wish that had been a weekly release. And then some quick movies. So I was telling John before the pod, I bought a sound bar that arrived this weekend. So I was breaking it in with a couple movies. I'm going to be hosting some movie nights soon as well. And I'm doing my little Oscar journey. I'm watching the Best Picture nominees. So I think it might have been nominated for stuff, but not Best Picture. Starting off, Asteroid City, Wes Anderson's new movie. Beautiful, thought-provoking, contentious. Some people didn't like it. The people I watched it with didn't like it. I had a great time with it. Jeff Goldblum's in it. May, December. It's on Netflix. It's really sad. If you want to read about it and not watch it, it's based on a real life story. And then Past Lives made me cry like a freaking baby, y'all. And that's a Best Picture nominee. That's worth your time. It is beautiful and romantic and thought-provoking and good. And it's on Paramount Plus if you want to stream it for, quote unquote free. Past Lives, May, December, Asteroid City. Movies, the cinema. I'm going to watch more of them before March. Hopefully I'll have more takes about them soon. The Best Picture noms. Anyways, that's all we got, folks. It's been a long road getting from there to here, but I think we've made it. Do I go to Star Trek jail for making Star Trek Enterprise references or no? Is that allowed?
No, it's allowed.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you to Magellan for being the rosin to my Commander Adama, because there's clearly something there, but one of us is president, and so it's not allowed. Wait. President. Thank you guys for listening to Couch Madness. Goodbye.